Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of I Am Patient. I am Brenda Snow, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. Got a couple things to say before you meet this amazing lady here, Brandi Benson. I'm live today, and I know we've just gone through an election, and I know things are still undecided. So I'm going to tell all of you what I told my team when I sent an email. So for me, kind of the way I'm driven in my core, I don't care who you voted for. I want everybody to remember that we're humans and we all feel, love, bleed, care, hope, have vulnerabilities, no matter the side of the aisle that you're on. Here in America, our European friends, I know it's a bit different. So let's just remember in the next week or so to have kindness, have grace, have tolerance, and remember that we're all one people, and we should come together, not apart. So there's my soapbox for you on that one. So this woman, and I love it. She's so amazing. I mean, an author, a cancer survivor, a motivational speaker, an Iraqi war veteran. So happy Veterans Day, everybody. And I'm so happy that Brandi's here to help us respect and honor Veterans Day early. She's just amazing. Down in the chat right now on Facebook, you can see her personal page. We're going to put a video where you can learn more about her. But please welcome her today to I Am Patient. Brandi, it's great to see you.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored and excited to share my story on your platform and to officially meet you. Kind of in a little, almost in person. So I'm really excited about all this. I'm so honored, so grateful.
Well, I am too. And, everybody, I have MS. We were talking offline. MS is, seems to be everywhere. We know each other from other MS people. So let's get to you, though. I mean, you are so, inspiring. If you guys do watch the video, comes with a little warning. Brandi had a type of cancer, and it is a rare cancer, correct?
Yes.
Called Ewing's sarcoma. I'm going to have her tell you about it. Ewing's sarcoma. Watch the video. It's unbelievable what you went through. And so take us back to, I know you were treated at Walter Reed. You're a vet.
Yes.
They've never seen another case. So what is Ewing's sarcoma? How did you know you had it? How did you fight back from getting a devastating diagnosis and going on to being so empowered?
All right. So Ewing sarcoma cancer is very rare and aggressive cancer. It usually will start in the elongated areas of the body, so like the bone of the arm or the leg or the hip, sometimes the rib area. And if it goes on, or if you discover it too late in its stages, it goes to your brain stem, your lungs, and your spinal cord. So it goes through all these really critical areas if you let it go on or prolong too long. So I discovered it in the stage of 1B. I was in Iraq when I discovered it. I was at this fob called, it was called Fob Echo. It was 86 miles south of Baghdad. And we got tons and tons of action. We got mortared, we got bombed. There was always people trying to come on the base. So it was just a very, very stressful environment. And it's just like the movies, how the movies portray it. And there's big loud noises and booms. And, the suspense is really built up. It's exactly like that. So I lived there for a very short time because I ended up getting cancer within that time frame of being deployed in Iraq. So I was there.
What were you doing, Brandi? Take a step back, in the military.
Mm-hmm. A 42 Alpha. I was doing paperwork. The original job that I had was a 92 Golf, which was a cook because I wanted to be a chef. I thought it'd be amazing just to learn, some cool things with cooking. And then they found out that I had a writing background. So they moved me from there to a different section. I helped with the paperwork and filing paperwork and, just lots of paperwork stuff.
But so when all these bombs are going off and you're in this crisis point in Baghdad, did your leg feel weird, or like what happened where you were like, this is not right?
Yes, I had a large tumor pop out of nowhere. So during this time, it was like December 2008, and I was really exhausted, and I was experiencing this like extreme fatigue. And I didn't know that was one of the symptoms. I just thought it was because I was in war. I'm in Iraq. I'm away from my family. It's holiday season. I'm really tired and exhausted. I thought that's why I was so tired, but it was really because of the cancer that I had. So it started out as like a tumor the size of this, and it was in my left groin area. So the only way I saw it was if I pulled my leg up and I was stretching that day, and I saw a protrusion sticking out of my leg. And that's when I discovered that something was wrong, and I wasn't sure what it was. So I asked a couple of different people and bounced some ideas off of them, and they immediately knew that something was wrong. And I was 24, so I never thought that anybody young would get cancer. I never even knew that cancer existed in the leg or the arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was like breast cancer or lung cancer or brain cancer, like the ones that you are constantly hearing.
Yeah.
I didn't know that there was a different type of cancer that just never played in my mind.
Kind of crossed your mind. Yeah. No.
When I got this, I thought maybe I pulled a muscle, or maybe it was like some sort of bite, or, I didn't know what it was, but it was huge. It was the size of a softball. That's how it started. That's when I first discovered it. And it took about a month to accumulate and grow that large, because it's very rare. It's aggressive.
Did you have, I hear so many stories about cancer, and shout out to all my cancer survivors out there. Did you have pain? So many people say they had pain, some didn't, that, they sometimes chalk it up to just, pulled muscle in your case, or, in the breast cancer ladies I've spoken to, it was a part of my cycle. Did you feel pain?
I didn't feel any pain. And it didn't, so it was a very firm tumor. So I would move it and push it, and it would just stay right there. I didn't think anything of it. And it's, again, because I was young and I was very naive, and I just didn't know really what was going on with my body. I had no clue, but it was painless. And it grew super fast, but not at a rate that I could discover it. Like, I didn't notice it until after it got so huge and so massive. I had no clue. But then towards the process of discovering what it was and finally knowing that it was cancer, it got to the size of a small watermelon. The large watermelons? Yes. Yeah. Huge, huge. I couldn't extend my leg. I couldn't walk anymore. It was pushing on my main artery in my left leg. I couldn't extend my leg out. My legs were going numb. It was crazy. But
at this point, had you left Baghdad? Mm-hmm. And so you came home, and this was still growing.
Yes.
And then when did you say, somebody needs to evaluate this again?
Mm-hmm. So I went from Baghdad to Landstuhl, Germany, and then from Germany to Walter Reed. And in Walter Reed, we did a couple of different tests to make sure it was, in fact, the type of cancer that I had, because they have to make sure that you have that. They give you the right regimen, the right chemotherapy. They give you a treatment plan. So we discovered it's Ewing sarcoma cancer. And by that time, it was huge, really big. And then they weren't even sure if it was going to respond to the chemotherapy or not. They just kept telling me that they might have to amputate my left leg, which is devastating just in general. But I was an athlete growing up, so I need my leg to run, to sprint, agility movements and stuff. So that was really hard to take as well. But I didn't, it just kind of just popped out of nowhere. And it honestly took about a month and a half to grow to the size that it had gotten to.
So it was extremely aggressive, very fast growing. I mean, this is like to go from a softball to a watermelon in, virtually 5 or 6 weeks. Yeah, it's insane.
It was very fast, very fast.
So you were in Walter Reed. Again, everybody, if you want to check out Brandi's video, we're putting a link below. It does have a little warning. Not that it's that, but if you don't like, and I love that, whoever did the video for you did it in black and white because you see that her leg was opened up and you can see the size of the tumor that they brought out. Mm-hmm. What was your prognosis?
They weren't too sure. They just didn't know if I was going to make it because they had never seen a case before. And it's partially because the doctors that were working with me, they hadn't seen the case. They saw the case in textbooks, in the medical book, like this is what it looks like, but they had never actually put their hands on it, had a patient who had it. So they were telling me that I was going to die, that it was going to be spreading all over the body. They told me they're going to have to amputate my leg. And it was just really bad news. But then you would have little glimpses of hope, and they'd be like, well, this might not happen. This could happen instead. So really, I was just so confused with what they were saying, and what I was reading online was really scary. And because it spreads to the lungs and the spinal cord and your brainstem, it's like, oh my gosh, I'm only 24. Like, how is this even possible? So just hearing all these things and reading online what they said is going to happen. And then they said also that even if I do get this type of cancer, that making it to my 5-year mark was something that was not going to happen.
Yeah.
It was not possible. But I'm at my 12-year mark and on veterans.
Damn, girl, you look good. You still look 25.
Thank you. Thank you.
12 years, darling. That's incredible.
Thank you so much.
And how often do you go for scans and to check? And
I go all the time. So it starts out after you're finished with your treatment, you go every 3 months for a year, then it's every 6 months for a year. And then it is after you make your 5-year mark, it's once a year. So now it's just once a year. But I like to be extra cautious because I was so nonchalant and naive to everything. Now I go once a year, but every 2 years I get a PET scan just to make sure.
That's great.
But it's not a protocol. You don't have to. I just ask my doctors to do that because it makes me feel good to know for sure.
That's great. And I think, hang on a second. I think we've got a little bit of typing. If we could mute, I think one of our producers in the background is helping out. If you have a question for Brandi, type it in. I think that was a little bit of that I was hearing. If you have a question for Brandi, type it in. I will get it asked to Brandi. So listen, like I said, my stepdad had lung cancer. My grandmother and my aunt had different types of breast cancer. They survived into old age. That was, it was taken care of. And I've interviewed a ton of people with cancer. Like, what is your biggest fear? And what do you think the universal fear of cancer is? And then what have you counseled, especially young people? I mean, so young. How do you, push through it?
So my biggest fear, of course, is it coming back, returning, and me not being able to endure all of that treatment. Because when I started out, I was 24, and I did about 101 rounds of chemotherapy in a year. So I would
101 rounds of chemotherapy.
10 months. So I would do it for 5 days, 8 days off, 5 days, 8 days off, 5 days, 8 days off. And I continued that for the entire duration from February to March 11th. So I did it. And by the time I was done, I was just physically, emotionally, spiritually just broken down and so exhausted. And so my fear is, I'm a little older, not too much older, but I'm a little older. I don't know if my body would be able to endure all of that treatment again, because I just know it's so harsh on the body. And then the residual effects of chemotherapy. I can't have kids anymore. I have hot flashes. I'm going through menopause. I have really soft bones. I just have like a lot of different issues on top of survivorship now that I have to continuously monitor and get checked up on. But so my biggest fear is returning and being able to defeat it. And the universal cancer, what do you mean?
Well, I think, and first, everybody, I don't know if it's just my hookup here. Do you hear something, Brandi? Like, or is it just me? Okay, so everybody, it's a Martian, or they're counting those election ballots. I don't know. I know that my producers are saying it's not from their side, so bear with us. It's a gremlin. Don't let it bother you because Brandi's so amazing. So I think what I mean is, what you just said, hundreds of rounds of chemo. Like, how does one, I always think about this is my journey. Where do you dig deep to get that? I mean, is it just the adversity or the face of death in front of you where you like, I have to do this, it's my only choice? And then how do you tell people to persevere and have hope and attitude on the other side?
For me, mine was definitely, I didn't want to die. I didn't want to be another victim of the prognosis. And this is what I mean. So I don't want to be a victim twice. So I'm the victim of having cancer, yes, but I didn't have to be the victim of the prognosis of what they said was going to happen. And that was like the biggest goal of mine, was to not, I didn't want to be a statistic. I didn't want to be, just a number written off the page. I wanted to be a miracle story. Somehow, some way, I really wanted to persevere and drive and make it to the other side. And that's all I kept thinking about, was just not giving up. There was no quit in me. There was no giving up. Giving up was not an option. And I believe that we all have that in us. And it's up to us to dig it out, to bring it out. Just because somebody says that this is what your future is going to be, or this is what's going to happen, doesn't mean that you have to buy into that and accept it. And that's something for me that just pushed me and motivated me to continue on and not give up. For me, that's what it was. I did not want to die. I didn't want to go. I was 24. I wanted to experience so much more. And another thing that really helped me was I had so many different things to live for. So my nephew, he was 2 at the time, and I was really distraught that I was going to be dying and not having a relationship with him, not watching him play soccer or basketball or making memories with him. So I created a journal in the event that I did pass away. And that's what the journal was originally, what my book was. And then I made a promise to myself that if I did pass away, that I would, if I didn't pass away, that I was going to change the book into the journal into an actual book.
I was just going to say, so everybody, it's called The Enemy Inside Me. And again, we'll drop it down below. So the journal turned into a book for your nephew. Now, that is a love story. That is a love story. So tell me, was it cathartic writing the book? Do you look back now when you read the book and think, oh my goodness, because, chemo brain, I can't believe I felt that. Yes. What does your nephew think of it? Lots of questions here.
So my nephew, so we'll start with him. And I knew that 2 years old, he probably wasn't going to remember anything. And that video that I ended up making, I don't know if there's that one or there's another one. One of them might be on my website. I'm not sure. But we had interviewed him. We did a little segment together, and we're just talking about, do you remember when I was in the hospital? Do you remember anything? He remembers nothing at all. All he remembers, he's like, I just remember being in the hospital and you not having any hair. And I'm like, that's exactly why I did this journal. So you would have something to remember me, something that shows you that I cared. And I'm so sorry that I left so soon. But so he just, he just didn't remember anything. But reading.
Proud of his auntie, though.
Huh?
He's proud of his auntie.
Proud. He brags about it, so I like that. But reading it now, when I do read it, it makes me cry. It makes me feel grateful. It makes me think about how much my mother loves me, because I didn't write this in the book, or I might have. I think I did. She was in Texas at the time when I was sick with cancer. She quit her job. She left the house. She left everything. Moved up to the hospital where I was at and stayed with me the entire time. All 10 months we slept in the same area together. She took care of me. She was there for me 100%. And that just shows how much love a mother can have for the child. And that, to me, every time I think about it and I read those pages, I just think, wow, I'm so grateful to have such a strong mom to be there for me, to help me at my lowest point in my life. So it does bring me back to those memories. And it's just so bizarre that I had to go through all of that. And I think about all that. And of course I know it's me, because I look at my leg, I'm missing a massive portion out of my leg. So I know it's me, but you know, looking at me, that I went through all of this treatment and all of this, all of these physical therapies and surgeries. It's incredible how quickly the body can heal itself in the proper conditions.
And that's why I think it's so important too. Again, this whole culture of judging, and making opinions. I mean, nobody knows until you walk in your shoes. Like you said, you look the epitome of health, and a big chunk of your leg is gone. I mean, nobody should ever make assumptions about another human and a person, because everybody, I've told this to people, throughout my journey and in my role in a company is like, you never know, but guess what? With health, it's profound in many ways. If you don't get sick, probably somebody you love or know or care deeply, immensely for will get sick. I mean, this is a universal truth. And so I think we have to have so much grace and dignity and empathy and caring because we are all, no matter what sex we are, no matter how much money we have or don't have, what color of our skin, where we live, what we do for a job. This is a universal truth. Just like we wake up and go to bed and we love, somebody we care deeply for is going to have a health challenge. And it's just been, such a mission for me. And I think that you embody, like, you're 24, who would think that this would happen? So I really commend you. So when you wrote the book, did it immediately become the journal, get it to be a book, or did you go through and wordsmith it? I only ask because a lot of people, because I think the popularity of this little program we're doing say, well, I would love to know from some of the guests, how did they do that? Or what should I do? Or do they have any advice for me? So somebody that wants to turn it into a book, what would you say?
So definitely figure out if you want to do a traditional publishing or like an independent publishing or non-traditional publishing. It's a lot cheaper to go with the non-traditional route.
Yeah.
However, that means that you'll do your own marketing, your own strategies, your own advertising, your own everything. I did not know what I was getting myself into. And that's kind of what my life has been now since after chemotherapy and treatment and stuff. It's just, I find something I want to do and I just go and I do it. I don't even ask questions. I don't know how I'm going to get there. I don't know what is going to happen. I just know this is what the end point is. This is what I want to do. And I just go and I do it. But so I had no clue that you'll need a website. You'll need to advertise it. You need to start these social media platforms. You need to do speaking engagements. What is your platform? What are you talking on? What is your target audience? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Right? I had no clue that all of this stuff was like in it. And before, I used to be really shy on camera and talking and, and like conversing with different people. Now I like, this is what my mission is. This is what I have to do. And so it just totally changes everything. And if you want your book to be successful or you want the message to get out, you have to be really motivated if you're going to go the non-traditional route, because you have to do all of the work. And that's what I did. I did the non-traditional route. So I do all of my own marketing. I make all my own websites. I build everything myself. And, it's just a lot of work, but just figure out which route you want to go with. And once you find that out, if it's traditional or the non-traditional, edit it. There's going to be many, many drafts of it. Some people might not like it. Some people may like it. And everybody thinks that they have a book that's just going to change the world.
Well, I tell you what, speaking of books, hey, everybody, we have been doing this since, I think, March. We've had so many incredible guests like Brandi, and we've had so many inspirational people like you watching. Again, go to the comments section. We can tell you how to potentially be a guest on this program or share your story. But also, I would like to, help your stories get published. And if you have a story and you want to submit it there. And my commitment to you is, we can collate these things. And if we ever got a way to make money, it would be like what I love the Cystic Fibrosis Foundation did. They helped fund the first clinical trial for patients with CF, and the drug, when it was brought to market, because the CF Foundation funded it, paid actually all the patients that gave themselves into a study. So I promise you this, if we can create a really incredible book with all of your amazing stories, I'll endure the cost to get it published and do all the stuff Brandi just said. And if we can sell it and make some money, we will split it amongst all of us. We'll have to probably get, somebody involved to make sure we sign and it's legal, but I would love to do that with you guys. Okay, Brandi, we're coming up at the bottom of the hour. It goes too quick. I love all these amazing guests. So you have 5 sort of tips. We've touched on some of them.
Yes.
In spirit of survivorship, in the spirit of Veterans Day, hit me up with your top 5.
Top 5 would be stay motivated, have a plan, have a vision, be clear about what it is that you're seeking and you're going for. Exercise, work out, meditate, surround yourself with positive and optimistic people, and just be as happy as you can be, because life is never promised. One minute you're good, and the next minute you could be unhealthy and have to face some sort of trauma or something traumatic happening in your life. And I think we're all amazing and we're all great, and I'm really excited about being on this show, and so grateful. And yeah, I can't wait. I love it. I love it all. Life is amazing. I have so many great projects coming up, and I've just been so motivated and so inspired to share my story on every platform I can get myself on. I'm just grateful for the opportunity.
What are the things that you get asked the most, or that you want to leave people with? Like, what do you find? And I'll just take a step back and say this. I remember when I was sharing my story a long time ago in the dark ages, 25 years ago. I started off 27. And, I gave so much of me. And when you said you cried, I cry. I still cry. And I think that was a way for me to heal. And I think it was a way for me to give. And every time I was done, I got so much more from the audience than I even felt that I gave. But, people sort of lined up to talk to me and said, well, what do you think I should do? And I never wanted to say what I think you should do, but there was always a nugget that I sort of boiled down to be like what I wanted to leave people with, that felt inspired by me, which I felt, again, very honored to. What is it for you?
I tell them that anything is possible. Where there's a will, there's a way, and that we all have this elite version inside of ourselves. We all do. There is no difference with somebody who has this miracle story that we all pull inspiration and motivation from. There's no difference with that individual. We all have it deep within ourselves, and it's up to us to kind of pull it out. And I just like to let people know that we have that in us. We are that person. We are that elite version and the best versions of ourselves. And it just takes time to kind of dig it out. And when all you have is strength left, you really discover how strong you are and how powerful you can be when you're under that pressure.
I agree. And a question just came in here, and that's your advice. So that's the advice, listener. I don't have your name here, but well, it's probably because I need to put these damn things on. How did you get past that, though? So when you felt lost, how did you get past that point?
I felt lost for a long time. And what I realized was, this is when I was going through all my cancer, and after treatment's over and everything's done, I kind of realized that the person that I was fighting for was gone. That was the hardest thing.
That's super profound.
That this life that I was just so like, I have to make it. I have to live when I'm healthy and I'm able-bodied again. I'm gonna do this again. It's like, no, Brandi, that person is gone. That section is gone. And so I had to reinvent myself. I had to figure out what is it that I like to do? What are my limits or my barriers? And to kind of just like bury the old Brandi was so hard for me. So hard, because you're not that person anymore. You just experienced some trauma. You went through trauma. You watched your loved ones pass away. People have cancer. Your whole trajectory of life and what it means now is so different. So just understand that what you're going through is life altering, but you have the say to reinvent yourself, to make yourself who you want to be now,
Yeah, so, I do too. I love this story of reinvention. I do. I love it. And, anybody out there that is feeling maybe lost like this question, I always say, the best bet to make is on yourself. The best bet to make is on yourself. And there's going to be hard days and dark days, but just, don't give up. And no matter who gets in your way or tells you can't do it, booyah, move on.
It lasts forever. It goes away. It goes away. The pain goes away. It will leave in time. in time. You just got to take those lessons, apply it to your life.
You're absolutely right. Yeah, that is a great perspective too, that it's hard because I think sometimes when you're deep in the middle of emotional trauma or physical pain, you don't think that you can endure or take another thing, but it does go away. It changes and it does go away. Hey, any more questions, guys, before we wrap up? Dump them in the comment section and I'll get it here on my phone. We're kind of changing it up today. I'm a team of one here. Next time you see me, I'll be in another location. I'm moving, newsflash. So send in a question. And again, Brandi Benson, we've got her video there, her website's there, her book's there. Most importantly, she's here. So if you have another question, type it in. Hey, what do you want to say as you can hear the drone of helicopters? I have the window open. I live by a military installation. In honor of Veterans Day, what do you want to give a shout out to military families or soldiers that have served? What would you like to say, Brandi?
My shout out is to everybody, the wives, the people, not only the people in the military, but those who are also making the sacrifices.
Exactly.
The wives or the husbands or the children, because you guys have to endure so much. Not only are you guys have to help the family while the military individuals deployed, but you guys are being moved from place to place to place and having to start all over from scratch every time. So I just want to say you guys are doing amazing. You're doing great. And I appreciate your hard work as well, because you guys also do matter.
Yeah. Well, I think I'm the lucky one getting to talk to people like you. It fills up my cup whenever I feel like, I'm also trying to plod through what is 2020 and being worried about the coronavirus and the state of the world, getting a glimmer of beautiful souls like yourself and survivors and fighters fills up my cup. So thank you for spending 30 minutes of your time with me today, Brandi, and I look forward on having you back with an update. And we've got some really cool things planned for 2021. So we'll be rolling those out soon. You're going to see some familiar faces. You're going to see some kind of cool themes and formats. So tell us what you like. And Brandi, again, I wish you so much. I'm sending you big hugs and kisses, love and peace. And I can't wait to see you again. And thank you for sharing your amazing story with us.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
You are welcome. See you soon. And everybody, have a good rest of your evening. And I'll see you, I think, again, right before Thanksgiving. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks, Brandi. You're amazing. Yes. Love your story.
Ooh. That was so much fun. Mm-hmm.